Alright, so Clay made a deal with me. He's been working on this 94 Cummins 1-ton Dodge for my brother Tim. And there's been an issue with the ignition. And you haven't been able to start the motor with the key. You've had to use a push button to get it started. So, Clay told me, he said, if I could make this thing start by the key, then he would rebuild the motor in my dually. So, I made it start by the key yesterday. Let's see if I can turn this around. I can't turn around. No seat in this thing because we're working on the interior. But, and actually, I can drive it around pretty good without a seat. So, here's the key. So that means Clay's building the motor in my truck. Hello, Will. How you doing?
Good. Tired.
Tired.
Just got home from work.
Clay, what's in the shop?
Can you not see what's in the shop?
What's my truck doing in the shop, Clay?
We'll fix the Yankee motor, transmission, transfer case.
You gonna build a motor for my truck?
Yeah.
Thank you, Clay.
Yeah. And make it not have so much blow by.
It's got a little blow by, doesn't it?
A little.
So my truck has a 6.5 liter
See that?
Detroit
Right there.
turbo diesel. It's got nearly 220,000 miles on it. It still runs fine, still starts fine.
Question.
Well, that is true. Every once in a while you got to feather the pump a little bit. We think the injection pump's getting a little worn out on it. We have replaced a lot of stuff on this truck. The biggest issue with this truck is the bell housing on the transmission. It's cast aluminum and it's cracked in several places. Clay finally discovered what's causing it to crack. The motor mounts and transmission mounts are worn out.
I figured it out.
I'm sorry.
No, I know they were worn out when we got the truck. They were worn out.
Okay, so it was a combination of the two of y'all putting your heads together that discovered. Okay, so Clay and Will suggested that we get new motor mounts
Put a pry bar
and transmission mounts.
in between the motor and the frame, and you can pick the motor up.
So we've got new transmission mounts and motor mounts for it also. We also have a rebuild kit. This truck has the NV 4500 5-speed in it. It's actually it's more of a 3-speed with a granny gear and an overdrive. Third gear gets used a lot, and the synchronizer for third gear is shot. But we got a rebuild kit, and Clay's going to rebuild that. He's never rebuilt a manual transmission before, so it'll be a first. But this is a great truck. It's a really good ride in down the road. It's a 93 model. It is 4-wheel drive. Will ordered some a couple years ago. He ordered some replacement decals for the hood. They're a little larger than the factory ones were. You can kind of see the factory ones behind them, but they look good. So Clay and I have joked off and on for about a year now of pulling the motor out of this truck, painting it lime green, and putting it back in. So it's going to get painted lime green, and this truck will be renamed the Toxic Turbo Turtle.
And we gotta do it in a month.
And we got to do it in a month because the end of this month, we're going to get another truck in here, and it's going to get a complete tear down. That truck right there. That's my sister Grace's 1950 Chevy 3100. It is pretty much a complete truck. It does run, it does drive. She drove me around the neighborhood in it and scared me to death because the brakes aren't perfect, and it still has the original 3-speed on the column. and about halfway through it I thought I'd had it fixed where it was working, and she handed me the shift lever off the column, so I've got to do some work to that when we get to that point. But this truck is a running, driving truck. It's been about 9 months since it last started, but it's complete, and that'll be a really nice truck when we get done with it. But that's going to go in the shop the end of this month, and it's going to get completely disassembled. But I am excited about getting the motor built in my truck. Alright, so it's already noticeably different. We've never tore this truck down this far. Yeah, Clay's only been working on this for about an hour and a half. I've been inside doing a little laundry and dishes while he's been working on this. But one thing we did do when, I'm going to say about a year and a half ago, we were taking Will's Alice Chalmers tractor to the state fair, and the trailer we were pulling was about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds. Plus the tractor was about 4,000, so I was pulling about 10,000 pounds. It was 100 degrees the day I pulled it. We were running about 70 miles an hour, up and down hills. I think it was about a 40-mile drive to where we went. And Will and I got out on the highway, and it wasn't long. The temperature was way too hot on this truck. So did a little research into this, and I found that when I was getting to about 2,500 RPMs, the temperature on the truck would quickly climb. And then if I drop it below 2,500 RPMs, it'd start cooling off. Well, the water pump that was on this was only moving, like, I'm not exactly sure what it is. What is it, like 64 gallons per minute. And basically what it was doing was it was causing, because from my understanding it moves the water into the driver's side head first, and then it goes from the driver's side head to the passenger side head. And what was happening is the water was getting pushed into here, but it wasn't circulating through properly, so this side of the motor was getting warmer quicker than this side was. So I did a little research, and basically the solution is get a water pump for like a 98 or 99 model 6.5 liter. It pushes, I think, 84 or 87 gallons per minute, and that's what this water pump is here. I put it on about a year and a half ago, and I have not had the overheating issue since. And I'm gonna have to get some kind of cover for the front grille in the wintertime, because if it gets below 30 degrees and you let this truck sit and idle, you ain't got no heat in the truck, which is kind of hard to defrost the windows that way. But Clay, you're doing a great job.
Still got a long ways to go.
You don't know how excited I am.
Got a long ways to go.
This truck's gonna have so much more power. I see that. And that's a new turbo.
That's a brand new turbo. The turbo's got like what, 12,000 miles on it?
No, because I haven't put but 8,000 miles on the truck.
We got it and it had 207 on it. But not long out. We didn't drive it very long, and then we put that new turbo and a bunch of other parts on it.